temperamental internet has not failed to bring us together.
Yes. I feel like what we really need to do is get us to record like a really good cold opening monologue. Because that's the theme.
That's the theme, is it? Because the other thing that I thought it could have been is a show that lifts lines directly from another show. There is a bit in Wheel of Time where someone literally goes, it's not quite history became legend, but it's something like that, and then says, legend faded into myth. And I was like, are you fucking joking?
Well, they're all, it's... Well, I mean, so the links are... there are several. They're both fantasy television shows. They are both adaptations of books. They are both
books. Big
made
books.
by Amazon Prime, is another. I think they share some of the visual effects. I think they use the same visual effects studio because Amazon, while it loves spending the money, does save it sometimes.
Well, why wouldn't you, to be fair? I mean, you say that, right? But I do think they are visibly quite different. Particularly in their colouring. The colour, there's much more vivid colours in Wheel of Time. Like, I think Rings of Power has like...
Well, it's got the Lord of the Rings colour palette, hasn't it?
Well, yeah, and it's got like a glow to it, but out and out like bang, smash you in the face colour. I think Wheel of Time absolutely does better with colours. So visually, I found Wheel of Time the better show. But I think we should get into particularly what you thought of it, because I think you are the biggest Lord of the Rings fan I know, and I know some big Lord of the Rings fans. But you've also been dabbling with the Wheel of Time books, which has taken up how much of your life recently?
A lot.
How many books in are you, and how many are there? There's 14.
I'm on book 13. I have less than 100 hours left.
That's still a lot. For me, that's like 10 books.
Yeah, well, you listen to books about the length of a prologue. So... But, no, yeah, I mean, I watched this show when it first came out. Maybe not when it first came out. A few episodes were out, and I watched the first 3 or 4, I think. And then
when did it come out? It was quite
about
recent, wasn't it?
This time last year. I think. So we should be getting a season 2 of it soon-ish. I fucking hope. But it'll be after Lord of the Rings is finished. So this bit of the year has been exhausting for TV shows around stuff that I'm interested in. Because there's She-Hulk, Rings of Power, there's another, House of the Dragon. Those are the 3 shows that I'm watching at the moment. And Walking Dead's coming back soon. But that's only because I've decided I'm going to watch the last season. But I'm caught up with that. There's like 8 more episodes.
I'm just done with Walking Dead.
It's totally fair.
I can't see myself going back to it, even though I have a Walking Dead tattoo. You know. But I think the part of that show that I loved it's been done.
Did it die when Carl did?
Yeah, pretty much. When they killed the best character, I just
you need
not sure there's
to wash that whore mouth.
Okay, right. Let's start with the Wheel of Time then. I think, shall we? You've talking about the books, so what is the Wheel of Time? In less than 3 hours, could you please tell us what the Wheel of Time is?
What is in just the concept of the Wheel of Time, or the actual TV episode that we consumed?
Start with the concept, and then go down into, and that brings us to all this shit going on.
Yeah. So I get, as a rough concept, it is just the cyclical nature of time passing in this fantasy universe, as on a wheel. And unless you're a Targaryen, you like wheels. And it's
break a wheel and all that. Yeah. Yep, I was with you. I understood that reference.
Eventually. I'll cut out the 3-minute pause that I had to leave for you to catch on.
That's good of you, thanks.
Yeah, but I think it's just so people when they die they can be reborn is essentially the thing.
So it is. I imagine at some point there is someone who is born who can remember their previous lives or life.
Yes, that is a thing. What do happen?
And another prediction I have is that some characters, or at least one character that we have met in episode 1 already. Sorry, let me rephrase that. I think there are 2 characters who have met in the pilot who are the past and future versions of each other.
That is a lovely theory,
That's
but
wrong.
incorrect.
That's a shame. I thought I was onto something there. But it
a really cool idea. The reincarnation thing doesn't quite work like that.
Oh right, so they have to be properly fully dead before they can get rid.
Yeah, it's like
not
your
like a time travel,
spirit would return to be part of someone else's story. Essentially, it's a cool thing. I think I'm worried that the TV show won't do it as well as the books do because it's probably quite a difficult visual thing to do.
What is it? As in, give a representation that this person is becoming this person.
Yeah, because I mean, you could do it with just voice, and you could do a Smeagol Gollum type thing, where the vocal takes a very different. But it doesn't come out until, I think, later. But this isn't like it's not a direct adaptation. It has some liberties, some characters are sort of smushed together, and some characters are invented and murdered in the first episode.
Oh really? Oh, that's
Yeah.
interesting.
So, when the Trollocs attack and Perrin kills his wife, she is a character that is not in the books.
That's quite a surprise because that is quite the narrative beat when he accidentally axes his own wife in half.
Yeah, but his character in the books has a big thing between like picking the axe or the hammer. So I think it's a way to jumpstart that narrative story from the books without the 5 books of backstory that it took to get him there.
Oh my god.
So it's a good version of the story. In my opinion, anyway. I'm sure there are some racists somewhere who didn't like it. Because there always are.
Yeah. But I thought it was quite a good introduction to the world. And, there's this character who... Is it Rosamund Pike who plays it? Yeah. Plays
Yes.
Moraine, who is looking for... And it took me a minute to get my head around this because she keeps looking for the Dragon Reborn. And that obviously is very close to the Dragonborn.
Yeah, easily confused. To be fair, a lot of shouting, so not too far removed from our lovely man in Skyrim.
But she decides that it's one of the 4 of them, is it, in this village that is the Dragon Reborn?
Yeah.
Who is then prophesied to defeat the Dark One? Is that right?
Yeah. It's a very on the nose sort of bad guy name, isn't it?
The Dark One. Yeah. I think the guy who plays Rand is just they've found a time machine and they've gone and plucked Hayden Christensen out of 2002 and brought him back into here.
Yeah, I never saw that at all. But I was just sort of very felt like he fit. And especially because watching a show and then going and reading the books is quite a challenge to get your own imagination of what characters look like.
Yeah.
His, it almost stayed the same, because as the characters develop in the books, my mental picture of them changed. But they were all versions of the actors that you meet, and then everyone else I just got to make up for myself, so they're all wrong. But yeah, I feel it's weird because now, having then listened to all of the books with him as Rand, I was like, well, he'll do, I suppose.
So yeah, I think, yeah, I mean, previously we've done shows which have been adaptations of books and stuff that's like a fantasy series, and I've just bounced off them. But I'm really happy that I didn't with this one, and I'll tell you what bit actually properly swung it for me is, like, it was ticking along fine, and it was like introducing the characters, and I was like, okay, yeah, I sort of figure what's going on here. And then when the big monstery things attacked, that was when I was like, okay, that is some of the coolest creature design I've seen for a long time.
Yeah,
they're like almost werewolfish, but they've got big troll heads, and then they've got all these wicked machetes and axes and hammers and shit. So I was like, yeah, I like this lot.
Yeah, I think in the books there are a lot of, like, they have a lot of variants in, like, essentially the heads that they can have, because they have like animal heads on a humanoid body. Is sort of generally the
some of them were more like goat-like, and, like, you know, they had the sort of the four horns that goats can sometimes have and all that sort of thing.
Yeah, but no, they are really, it's for creature design, like, it's a really cool creature. For like, they're just the foot soldiers. That's all they are. And you've got the Fade that sort of is about, and they're a bit more freaky. And it's good, because the first time I watched this, because I watched it about an hour ago, to remind myself of what I enjoyed about it.
Yeah.
And there were things that I forgot the cold opening in its entirety, because I forgot that sets up the whole male and female parts of the power, and the taint that's on the male half that drives people mad. Great story. And it also reminded me that the Aes Sedai, like the people who Moiraine is part of, they are divided into, I think it's essentially the 7 colours of the rainbow. They're a spectrum of colours. Not 7 colours of rainbow, because one of the colours is brown. But they all actively dress in the colour of the group they are part of in the White Tower. Which, in the books, is kind of like they're more characteristics, but in a TV show, that's really helpful. Because you can just get to go, well, those are the baddies. Those are the goodies.
The magic looks amazing as well. Like, when she cast the sort of the lightning spell, that was awesome. One bit that did confuse me is there's a part where to defeat the Romanian like trolls, there's quite a few of them, so she just starts pulling stones out of the building behind her and launching them out. But I was just like, why didn't you just take like the odd brick from each building that's not going to be structurally, you know, crucial for that building to stay standing? Because at the end of it, the pub behind it just falls over.
Yeah, but what you're not seeing is the power of drama. It's a secondary power to the cool magic stuff, is to make it so that no one has somewhere to go for a drink afterwards.
So you are 13 books in. Do you know how it ends?
No, because the end is in the 14th book.
Yeah, no, but I wondered if you'd managed to like avoid spoilers and everything.
I've avoided spoilers for the most part, but there are some things that I've done what I always do, where I've been like listening to the book while actively reading about characters and trying to work out where I am in their character arc, and then gone, oh no, I've scrolled down slightly too far. In much the same way that I found out Joffrey died,
and then told me.
No, because then I scrolled down further and found out who killed him, and then that's what I told you.
Sorry, that was the bit that you told me. Yeah.
Goddamn Baelish.
So, how far? Because there's the thing with the Wheel of Time is that Robert Jordan, he died, didn't he, before he could finish the series?
He did the first 11.
Oh right, and then it was Brandon Sanderson who did
working off what he was told.
Oh, that's right. So, because I think, didn't you tell me that he was like, right, I can do this, or I can do this right, and it's going to take me 3 books.
Yeah, because I think from the sounds of it, the publishers wanted him to take slightly more time and write like a
massive book.
Yeah, but then it probably would have got edited down to fit into like a reasonable sized book.
Yeah, because I don't know about you, but like even an 800-page book, that's too big. Like, that's far too big.
Yeah, I think like a Game of Thrones book isn't a horrible sized book if you listen to it.
Or you do what I did, and I was thinking about this earlier today. I read the first, a Game of Thrones. I read that entirely on my phone in like tea and lunch breaks when I was a gardener. And as I remember it, I remember just racing through it, and in my head I'm like, that book's actually not that long. And then I see it in a shop or something, like, oh, that's massive.
Yeah, I read the first Game of Thrones book, and then I listened to the next 3 or 4. I'm not 100% sure I've actually finished Game of Thrones. I say finished.
Got to.
It is very rare for a fantasy series to be finished.
Yeah.
But I think in terms of like a classic pilot, because this is quite close to, I think, from what I remember, how the first book starts, because it has been 9 months since I started reading the books.
Jesus.
I think it's where you'd cut it, because you'd have like you have little battles, so you can be like, this is an action show, but also the start of the adventure, the Bilbo running after Thorin.
Yeah.
So I think from the TV side of it, they've done a really good job of chopping the first chunk into, look how idyllic their life is. Monsters. I guess those 4 better fucking run.
I was quite surprised when it ended, actually. I thought I had a lot more left in the episode. So I was quite surprised. So
that is something that I found with the episodes, is that you see how long they are. You go, oh, it's like 55, 54 minutes. And then it gets to the end and you're like, no, I could sit here and watch another 3 or 4.
Yeah, it was really weird how it properly played that trick on me. Like, something that did occur to me though at the very end, when you see them running away and you see the other, like, the rest of the Dark One's army coming down the hill to the village. It's like the 4 of them have legged it, but the rest of the village is still there. You're like, should they not like tell everyone to get out?
That will slow them down.
It just seemed like a very quick decision for all of them, who then they've all just tried to save someone, and succeeded or failed as the case may have been, and then just been like,
or
fuck it,
murdered your wife.
Yeah, all that, and then just been like, fuck it, we'll just go, shall we? What? Hang on.
Yeah. What's weird is, I think of the 4 characters, I think everyone has their reasons to leave. Egwene like Egwene would probably leave because Nynaeve's gone. So
that was interesting.
she's
as well.
not
It was
going to be able
the,
to.
the fact that she wasn't killed, the Trolloc ran off with her. So I was like, okay, so you came there looking for her, presumably.
Yeah, and then so she's probably just like, I'll just leave because I'm not my. I'll just leave my parents because my BFF who was going to teach me stuff is gone. I'm just gonna off and fuck. Rand's decision to leave is just like I guess. Perrin killed his wife, so obviously.
Yeah.
But Matt's like, it's weird because he is there just looking out for his sisters because his parents can't be bothered. So to me, his leaving makes the least sense.
Yeah, because you ran out in danger to go and find them, but the next morning you're quite happy just to fuck off.
But then also, a crazy magic lady has just come and gone. If you leave, everyone will be fine. And they are arguably just kids.
Yeah. Is that what she said? Does she say, "Oh, everyone's going to be okay"? I don't know if I believe.
I think
her.
she says the Trollocs are coming for them, not the village. Which, with some insider knowledge, seems to be the case, because there is still a village in the Two Rivers later.
Okay, fair. I already reckon I know which of them is the Dragon Reborn.
Go for it.
I
already know.
Well, I think it's Rand.
Cool, fair guess.
But yeah, I really, really liked it. I really liked it. How many series are there? Is it all out, or is there?
This is the whole first series is out. I think it's 8 episodes.
How far through does it do an entire book in that episode or in that series, or is it like halfway through one? Or
it does an entire book.
Okay.
And it ends quite differently to how the first book ends, which is fine because I was like, I want to know what happens next, and then I got to the end of the first book and I was like, what the fuck is this?
I mean,
so
I guess that does happen quite often.
Yeah, and I don't dislike this being a different telling of the story because it feels like the narrative beats are still hitting. It's just, I think they're maybe aware that they're going to have to try and do this in fewer than 8 seasons because Game of Thrones has really fucked that season 8, so so no one wants to run that long. And also, I think the books don't take place over a significant length of time. I might be wrong and just am like, yeah, it's probably taken less than a year because that's how long it's taken me to read it. But it doesn't. I don't think a huge time has passed, but I think it's only like 5 or 6 years. So I don't know how much they want the characters that age to age. Because that's something that I don't think the show really touches on, is that Aes Sedai are quite basically not immortal because they do still die, but they live longer than normal people. So what the show sort of implies is that Moraine's journey to find the dragon has only just started. But I think in the book she's been looking for like 20 years or planning for 20 years.
That's the implication that they might even say that in the show because that is ringing a bell.
Yeah. And also, we can't talk about without talking about how fucking cool Lan is.
Is he the chap with the headband and the sort of like katana style sword?
Yeah.
Yeah, I liked him a lot.
Yeah, and as a veteran of this series, having watched all of it twice, he gets better. He seems a bit like a dick and a bit standoffish. He is, but he gets better.
Mandragoran.
I think he pronounces it Mandragoran.
Mandragoran, okay.
But, you know, I wouldn't want to correct
well,
you.
yeah. That's fine.
I mean, I love getting the chance, so... So do you reckon you'll carry on with
I
it?
don't know. Maybe. But, like, at the minute, I'm really enjoying books. So it might be a case of going for the books. I mean...
You sadist, but do it!
I mean, it would take quite a while. I wonder how much, like... Do they do, like... Is there, like, a box set of them?
Not for a reasonable price.
Oh, really? Okay, I'm going to have a look. How much is the Wheel of Time box set?
I think you can get,
Oh,
like...
you can get them in, like... There's multiple sets, right? So, but, okay, so...
Yeah, what I want is a one and done.
Okay, so the Wheel of Time series 1 to 15. What? Book 1 to 14.
Oh, there are some like half
Okay.
books.
Yeah, okay, for the low, low price of $144.99.
That's the thing that for it, that's £10 a book,
Yeah. Which is
which isn't
Oh,
an
yeah.
unreasonable price. It's when you have to pay it all at once.
paperback.
Is the problem.
110. I mean, genuinely, in the last few weeks, I definitely have spent like over £100 on books.
Yeah. So what's 14 more books? But that's the thing. I think you would. Or I think if you enjoyed the show, you'll probably enjoy the books. That is what I have found.
Yeah, that probably does make sense. Yeah, eBay's a similar price, 160, but it does come in a cool box.
I do like cool boxes.
That'd be a heavy one as well. 15 books. Okay.
Yeah.
Shall we move on over to the other high fantasy show based on a series of books with a cold opening monologue?
Yes. Well, we get New Galadriel.
Who, I mean, I've only
It says basically the same thing as she did in Lord of the
pretty
Rings.
much, but well, she's a bit more badass. She's like killing shit now, which is cool. But
Yeah.
like, it's Morpeth Clark, isn't it? That's her name. Who plays Galadriel in Rings of Power, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you haven't seen her in the A24 horror film Saint Maud, you absolutely have to, because that film's a masterpiece. It's a perfect film, and it is.
I'll watch it now. It's got Galadriel.
Oh,
in
it's
it.
fucking terrifying as well. There was a weird sort of. There was a spate of horror movies like a couple of years ago that it was a sort of a collection that I decided was a collection because it was basically you could class it as horror films where you don't know whether you should be scared of the main character or for the main character. It really plays that balance really well between.
That's a really interesting dynamic.
Yeah, it's an incredible film, and it scared the shit out of me, and that doesn't happen very often. So I was very, very pleased when it did, and she is phenomenal in it. Yeah, I can remember like it was during lockdown, that it was as lockdown lifted that I managed to get to the cinema
You watched that and then didn't
To
want to go
see-
outside.
to see Saint Maud, and I remember that Morpeth Clark they were interviewing her on 5 Live, the Kermode Mayo show, and she was out in New Zealand shooting Rings of Power, and at that point we didn't know, who she was going to be playing or what was going on at all in it. So it was really cool just to see her like pop. Right, yeah, she's the main star of it now.
Yeah. I suppose one of a few, but the main star.
Go on then. What's going on in Rings of Power?
Well, well, first it gives us a little look at Valinor and all of the nice, pretty years of trees and stuff, where everything was fine, and then Morgoth got a little grumpy and just fucked shit up for everyone. And then Galadriel makes a pile of elf helmets. So, yeah. It's quite a dark opening.
It was. I wasn't expecting that, to be honest. I mean, but did you? So presumably you knew. I'm basically watching this, thinking Rich probably knows everything that's happening here.
No, because this isn't. This is expanding on vague stuff in books. It's not. It's weird because it's not translating actual history, which is partly what has some people a bit. But I mean, the other thing is the colourblind casting. Like that has really fucked with people. So, like, how can these fantasy creatures these, not be white?
Elves be black. Let me just.
Yeah, it's bizarre. How in a world where there is a tree that can tell who should be king, are you mad about Lenny Henry having tiny little hobbit?
Oh man, he's really good in this. Like, he's genuinely really good.
Yeah. Did you find the first time that Lenny Henry pops up, you go, "Oh, Lenny Henry," and then just completely forget that it's Lenny Henry?
A couple of times, like I'd be watching it and I was fucking Red Nose Day soon, isn't it?
Yeah, that's the thing. I think it threw me the first time I saw him, and then I was like, you know what, it's fine. But what I really like is you're going to see Galadriel before she's
Galadriel,
the lady of, yeah, before she's like just sort of there to be like, where's Gandalf? That's not even her. Well, yeah, before she's had to freak out Frodo.
yeah.
So it's giving you an insight into, because Valinor was in the first age, so the first sequence is all set in the first age, and these ages are millennia long, and then it just goes, well, second age now. First age was a bit boring. And then you know that it is weird because she has no jeopardy because she's not going to die because she has to be in Lord of the Rings. It gives her a lot of plot armor, but it's, for me, going to be an interesting way to see how she gets from I'm going to kill everything evil to
now chill.
I'm just going to chill in my forest and just sort of fucking stay here.
Yeah, that's
only going on small excursions to banish Sauron from Mirkwood.
That hadn't occurred to me actually. That is what the arc is eventually going to be. Is her going from wanting to hunt him down, like when everyone else is saying, "Nah, we've probably had enough," I reckon. To her then just being like, no, I'm just going to hang out here.
The trouble is, I can't fault the people who are just like, but we're at peace. Like, things are generally fine unless you live in one of the places that isn't Lindon. Which is good. And you do, not in this episode, but you get to start to see not places that you recognise, but places that are spoken about in Lord of the Rings.
Like the seeing the sort of the sky parting and opening up to the Grey Havens, which doesn't look very fucking grey, cool. If I'm honest. I'd call them the Gold Havens.
Yeah. Or you'd call them, fuck that, I'm going to swim for it. Which I believe is what Galadriel referred to as.
Very much enjoyed every single pronunciation of Sauron. They roll the R on every single time. The dude at the end. That's at the end. You see, this asteroid, like meteor, like passing over every character that you've met in the previous episode.
I was wondering when you were going to get to the conspiracy theory portion of the podcast, because there are
Conspiracy theory.
there are so many ideas for who
Is it not
that
Sauron?
is. And no, that's the thing.
But
Maybe.
like he lands, and the shape that he lands in looks like the fucking great flaming eye that we're all used to.
Yeah, but it feels too on the nose to be like, see that big comet in the sky? Yeah, there's your baddie.
Well, yeah,
But then also, like it could be. The first one I saw was fucking Gandalf, and then that person got put down hard when they just went. But Gandalf didn't arrive until the start of the Third Age. You fucking moron.
Oh wait, so sorry. This still so as we're recording this, the whole series isn't out yet, is it?
Yeah, we're on episode 4 currently, and we still don't know who they are.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. We don't know who this guy is. Right, I thought.
Yeah, so we're 4 episodes deep. Big man from the sky. Don't know who he is. Like, it feels like. So here are the the four theories that I've heard, and some of them are definitely way off. Gandalf. It's not Gandalf.
How do you know it's not Gandalf?
I've heard, because this is the Second Age, Gandalf didn't arrive until the start of the Third Age.
What if he did?
As is well known in Lord of the Rings canon. Then this show can get in the fucking bin. I mean, it could be a version of Gandalf before he's
Saruman?
Gandalf. Could be, but Saruman and Gandalf arrive together. Annoyingly.
Radagast.
Radagast is the other option. Because I don't think we know when he arrives. And he seems to have an affinity for nature and fire. Mostly fire.
The thing is, right, it's that would again point me to Sauron, but the fact that they still haven't given away who it is, and they're quite openly hunting Sauron, does make me think now, okay, it's not.
So here is my favourite theory. My favourite theory is that because obviously it's going to be not a human person, because it arrived in a fucking comet. So I have seen suggested that this is a Balrog in a not shadow and flame sort of body.
That.
And I have seen proffered that this is the very same Balrog that will end up in Khazad-dûm. Potentially.
Yeah, I quite like that.
The thing is, it's my favourite theory, and I know it's going to be wrong. Because that's the thing. It could be something that exists in Lord of the Rings, or it could be something new.
I feel like they know what they do. If they was just introducing a new
I
character.
heard the first one. The first one I saw was someone just being like, "It's Tom Bombadil."
Yeah, that wasn't fire. That was him playing his lute.
Yeah, that's the thing. I want them to do Bombadil, but it's not going to fit the tone of the show.
Yeah. Okay. I think I'm definitely gonna have to watch more of this one for sure. I think because I have notions of Lord of the Rings, I know little bits about it here and there. Just more familiar with it.
Yeah, I think I'm really enjoying it because I've read, I think, most of what Middle Earth has, what's been written about it. And it's, while I can understand die-hard fans, of which I half count myself as one. Like, the main thing that sort of go is dwarf women don't have beards in this, and that just really, I find that off-putting. But I don't think they're doing it a disservice. From what they've done so far.
I think, and as a, not quite a casual fan, but like I am a big fan of Lord of the Rings, but something else, it does feel quite different to Peter Jackson's Lord of the Rings, doesn't it? But there was some part where something happened and it played it literally played like 2 notes of like one of the Mordor bits of music, or Isengard or whatever. So there's little hints here and there at it, I think.
I think they do have Howard Shore on board.
That would make sense then.
But that's the thing, because I guess they don't want to distance it too much, because then people whose only experience is the Jackson trilogies would step away from it being like, I don't really give a shit. But I think what I think will be interesting is when they start getting into the rings.
Yeah, because they've already mentioned Celebrimbor. Celebrimbor fucking shows up, just chilling with Gil-galad and Elrond. I was like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It is weird because you're seeing all of these characters that you've only seen in the first 30 seconds of Lord of the Rings.
Is Gil-galad there?
You're getting to meet them. Yeah, he's in the Last Alliance of Men and Elves, I do believe.
Do they ever point?
Yeah, Gil-galad's there, Elrond's there.
In the film, do they ever was anyone ever cast?
I think it might be in the extended cut. But then you do meet other characters who are there, because that's the end of the Second Age. But they've got a lot of Second Age to get through before they get there.
Could the stranger? This is just the thought that has occurred to me. Could the stranger be Glorfindel?
Could be. There's a unlimited amount of people that it could be.
Beorn. We'll go for him. Fuck it.
It's just Thorin.
It's just Darth Vader. I really liked both of these shows. I think they're both really, really good. I'm definitely going to carry on with Rings of Power. Not sure about Wheel of Time. I may well do, but not 100%.
To help sell Wheel of Time is what made me confident that Rings of Power was going to be good.
At the time, actually.
Which it feels like I only watched Wheel of Time to see how Amazon handled. But genuinely, it's really good. Rings of Power is also really good. Thus far, 4 episodes in. First episode really sets up a lot of stories. So you're not just getting 1 season of this. There's going to be more. Because there's too much for, I think, 10 episodes. I think it's a 10-episode run. They don't have enough time to sort out all of these stories without
more episodes,
more multiple seasons, which I'm totally fine with. And I think there's lots of intrigue, and you start to see lots of different. You see lots of the country. There was when they showed the village, because it'd been a while since I'd actually watched Wheel of Time. They showed this village, and I was like, "Is that the same village that they used in Wheel of Time?" I looked at it still a bit, and I went, "No."
That would
No,
be
it's
really funny if they just went, fuck it.
Because that's the thing. Because I don't know. Well, that's the thing. I don't know how much sharing they would be doing. So I don't know if they filmed Wheel of Time in New Zealand. Europe. So I think it might just be visual effects that they're sharing. I don't think they're sharing sets and. But yeah, they're both real. I mean, I have watched all of one of them. I'm gonna keep watching.
And the episodes going out weekly, are they?
Yes, it is.
Cool.
So frustrating.
Having to wait when you've watched nearly 100 series of TV shows.
I know it is frustrating, but what I like about it is that it means that when we're doing these recordings, well, if you catch up with me and keep watching it once a week, we're able to have a little chat about it before the recording, or during the recording, or after the recording. Who knows? Who cares?
No one.
We'll talk about it at some point.
What are we doing next? We've got White Collar and something that we didn't have anything to pair with it for a while, but we're going with Burn Notice.
Yeah.
Which has got Bruce Campbell in it. Woo!
Oh, that's how it got on the list.
Yep.
Yeah, it should be good. They're crimey stuff, I guess.
I think so. I think Burn Notice has something to do with the CIA.
Yeah,
like
well, it's going to feel a
I
bit
guess we'll
shit
find
after
out.
this week, isn't it? I mean, yeah, tough luck to anyone who has to follow this episode. It's like, what did we do after Gilmore Girls? What came after that? Oh yeah, The OA and Timeless. Poor those shows.